Hello. Sorry for the jerky beginning. Okay, camera's down here. Get used to that. Sorry. So hi, welcome. My name is Laura Burns. Welcome back to my channel if you've been here before, and if this is your first time, can't forget to give you jazz hands. Okay, so I'm doing a live video for this, and you can see by the title what the topic is, and it's about that Spoonie life, Spoonie life, Spoonie. And this has been on my list to do as a video for literally months, but I have not had the spoons to do it, which is funny because, well, you know. And I have been sick, so I still have a little bit of a cough. I apologize. I will cough. But I have beverages. Let me open. I got my coconut LaCroix, which is like the best. I have cough drops. I still have some coffee left. Okay, I'm gonna turn this because I'm like trying to look in the wrong place. Okay, look over here. So let's dig in. Now, I'm doing this as a live because I have been wanting to do like a nice edited video and like whatever, be a little more professional about things, but it just hasn't happened, and I'm tired of waiting. I just want to get the video out there. I want to talk about it, and I actually am kind of excited about the idea of doing this as a live because I want you to be able to comment and share your thoughts, feelings, and experiences about all of this. So let's just dive in, and let's just start with what the fuck is a spoonie. So if you don't know, and a lot of people don't, if you do not hang out on the internet, you probably, and like either have a chronic illness or chronic pain or know somebody who does, you probably don't know what this term even is. And that's one of the reasons I'm making this video, because I use the term spoonie, and a lot of people don't know what it means, and then they ask, and they're like, well, do you, a video explaining it? And I'm like, no. So this is gonna be that video. Welcome. And so I have pulled up, right here is my computer, so if I'm looking over here, that's what I'm looking at, and I pulled up the spoon theory, which is what this is all based on, and it was created, coined by this woman, Christine, and I'm not sure exactly how she says her last name, but it's like Miserandino. I'm sure that I super butchered her name. I apologize if you are upset about the pronunciation. Miserandino is what it looks like to me. Okay, and so her website is called butyoudontlooksick.com, which I love, because so many chronic illnesses and people dealing with chronic pain, their stuff is invisible, and so people don't even realize that they're sick or that they have this chronic situation. And then people are super quick to like shame them for the use of a wheelchair. Well, you can walk. Why are you in a wheelchair? Well, because sometimes they need a fucking wheelchair. Or like whatever, like why are you on the scooter things at the grocery store? Why are you using a cane? Why are you parking in the handicap spot? You look fine. Which, if they have the placard, then leave them alone, because there's probably a reason why they have the placard. Let's all mind our own business. Anyway, so the website is butyoudontlooksick.com. And so when you go there, you can click on, there's a lot of tabs. There's 2 rows of tabs, and on the last one on the second row says the spoon theory. And so if you go there, then you can read this whole thing. I'm not gonna bore you. Well, it's not boring, but I'm not gonna just like sit here and read this whole thing to you, because it's long and you don't want, that's not fun. But basically, here it is. So spoons address capacity. So if you think about the amount of capacity or energy that you have in a day to get all the stuff done that you need to get done, those are your units of capacity, your units of energy, right? And so you wake up in the morning and you have a certain number of units. And I'm sorry if I like make this seem really complicated. I'm gonna do my best to kind of paraphrase. The spoons came into play because if you read this story, it starts, my best friend and I were in the diner talking, and so in the story, she, grabs a bunch of spoons from the diner and lays them down on the table to act as stand-ins for the units of capacity or units of energy that people would have in a day. And just from living your life, some days you wake up and you have like a ton of energy and capacity, and you could take on the world, you could do anything. And some days you wake up and you feel like, oh my God, I cannot do anything today. Well, when you have a life where you have chronic illness or chronic pain, you have a diminished capacity. So you wake up with less spoons, less units of energy or capacity than other people. And how many you spend today is going to affect tomorrow. So like normal people, they might use all their spoons today and go to bed dead ass exhausted, but they're going to wake up in the morning back up to 100%. Like in a video game, you fill your health back up. Well, when you have chronic illness or chronic pain, if you exhaust all your spoons one day and you go to bed, you're not guaranteed to wake up with all your spoons replenished, with your little hearts replenished. And so you have to be really careful with how you choose to use them. And it's not enough. It's never going to be enough to do all the things in a day that you would like to do. And sometimes it's not going to be enough to do all the things in a day that you want to do. And so if you read this, which I really encourage you to, if you've never read this, go read it. I think she has lupus. Yeah, she has lupus, which is hard. I know a lot of people with lupus. Let's see. So she takes her, basically, she like talks her friend through a day, and she says, so these are all your spoons for the day. Let's go through the day, and like, how are you going to use these spoons? And the idea is like, okay, well, I wake up and, get ready for work. And she's like, hold up. It's not that easy. You wake up. How do you feel when you wake up? What do you have to do even to get out of bed? And she's like, you just get up. And it's like, well, you don't just get up for everyone. Anyway, so it's like getting out of bed. Do you take a shower? Do you put on makeup and fix your hair? Do you eat? Like, those are choices that you have to make. Those all cost spoons, right? So you're taking the spoons away from your hand. You start maybe with whatever, a nice handful, and then like you've already lost 3 or 4 and you're not even out the door for work yet. So you get the point now. She walks her through a day, and by lunch she's already like half of her spoons done, and she's like, how am I gonna get through the rest of the day with only these spoons? And it's like, exactly. How are you, and what choices are you gonna have to make? And that really hits home for me, because I'm constantly having to make choices about like commitments that I make. Like, am I gonna go to this event or function, or am I gonna go to this, or can I not leave my house today? And there are people who, and maybe you're one of them, has a really hard time understanding what that would feel like, how it would feel to make that decision. So to you, you're like, just go to the thing. Just pop by for a few minutes. It's not about like, how long do I want to stay? It's like, can I even get myself to there? Because it's not just pop by this event for a few minutes. It's like, well, so it's a nice party, so I have to, dress in something nice. I have to like fix my face a little bit. Like, these are decisions. Like, do I dress nice? Do I fix my face a little bit? How's the traffic going to be? A long time in traffic can be awful for people that deal with chronic pain or illness. I have to think about traffic because of my stomach, because when I'm having flares, I could have to go to the bathroom like really suddenly, and if I'm stuck in traffic, that is not a good position to be in. So like, am I gonna have to sit in traffic a lot? Okay, if I am, how's my stomach feeling? Do I need to preemptively take something? It's like all this stuff. It's not just like, just get in the car and come by for a few minutes. It's like, oh, all these things that go into it. How's the parking gonna be? Is there gonna be a place to park where I don't have to walk super far? If walking super far is an issue for them, is it going to be accessible once I get in there? Are there a lot of stairs? Are there going to be places to sit? Or is it going to be one of those playing parties or functions where everybody just stands the whole time, which is fine if you don't have any issues. But if you have issues with various things with your body, you can't just stand the whole time. And so it's just a lot. And anyway, so that's like what the whole story is. Like, she talks her friend through the typical day and like having to make these choices. And you know, you end it by like, okay, well, I have like 2 spoons left, and this person wanted to hang out. So like, okay, I can't hang out with you if I want to also feed myself and like, I don't know, do some chores or something, or like whatever, the stuff that you do when you get home that you need to do for life, like laundry or dishes. So often, like, going out with friends gets cut out because that's something that you can cut out, but that means that relationships suffer. So what I wanted to, before I get too distracted and like talking about those things, kind of what I wanted to talk about today is like, what does it mean, you know, to be a spoonie? So, okay, so spoon theory, that's like the spoon theory. And it's just a way to explain to people, hi, oh, thank you, about this kind of units of time and the decisions, the compromises that you have to make with yourself. Because like, sometimes I can borrow from tomorrow's spoons and then I go to bed super wrecked. But that means that I'm already setting myself up for a deficit of spoons tomorrow. You know what I mean? And so like, maybe that'll be okay, and I have the luxury of like just being around the house and not having to do anything. Maybe I don't have to go anywhere, so I can just be low on spoons and just like couch the whole day. But like, maybe I gotta get up and go to work. Not everybody has the luxury to just lounge around. So if you're already at a deficit and then you do have commitments that you have to do, or else you're gonna lose your job and then not be able to take care of yourself, I mean, what do? You go through your day and then like, you know, you rack up these deficits and deficits and deficits, and then you get sicker and sicker. Like, it's just, it's crazy. And so the 2 things that I want to talk about, let me go back to that. I'm getting super distracted. This is the thing about the live videos. They're easier for me, but I'm also like, la 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 la. So 1, what it means to be a spoonie, what does that mean about the choices and just like how you live your life. And number 2, what do you want people to know about living as a spoonie? So people who don't understand, what would you want them to know about how your life is and how you have to make these choices? And so, because for me, I find that I've had people, like friends in my life, who just didn't get it, and they would get upset, you know, about me canceling, or like, so like I'm like the flaky friend, and so it hurts my feelings because I feel like people don't take the time. But also, like, if nobody ever tells them this is how it is, then you know, what do you expect? So yeah, so that's kind of like the basic definition of what it means to have spoons, and like the history of where that term comes from. Angela says, you like the spoon explanation. People have no idea how hard it is sometimes. Yeah, if you've never dealt with any of this, then you've never had to think about these things. So it's just like the friend. It's like, oh, I wake up and I, you know, get ready for work. But like, I hear that and I'm like thinking of all the things, you know, that it takes me to like wake up and get ready for work. So okay, I just have a few talking points. And then if you have anything to say, please chime in. As long as it's related to what we're talking about. And just FYI, I'm not going to answer questions that have nothing to do with what we're talking about. So how does it show up in my life? And I've kind of talked about that a little bit. Oh, thank you, Paige. I'm glad you're here. So how it shows up in my life is a lot about having to make those choices. I have been really working on not like accepting invitations if I think there's a likelihood that I might have to bow out. And that's hard for me because I never know. And a lot of times I really do want to do that cool thing that you asked me to do, but I then on the day when it's time, I'm like sick and I just can't do it if I want the rest of my day and the next day or whatever to be good. And so I do end up canceling plans a lot. And in the past, this has been more of an issue because I had friends who like didn't get it, and not because they were mean or rude or anything, because they just didn't understand. And it did cause problems. I had a friend get really upset with me, and like kind of very dramatically exit my life because she didn't understand that it is really hard for me to leave my house sometimes. And that has to do with both spoons coming from physical chronic illness and pain, but also because of mental health, because I deal with depression and anxiety, and so on top of everything I have like social anxiety stuff, and so that was really hard. Now in my life, I'm surrounded by people who kind of get it a little bit more. It's a lot easier for me to say, that sounds really fun, I would really like to do that, can we pencil it in and I can let you know that day. And if they understand why I'm doing that, that really gives me a lot more space to on the day say, you know what, like I'm really not feeling great, you know, can we do it another time? And they're not gonna get upset with me because they know that that's what's going on. Okay, I saw some, let's see. Jay, hey Jay. Oh, your mom has multiple sclerosis. It's hard, especially when somebody has an invisible illness. It's hard because you forget, especially if people are like, you know, strong and, you know, pretty independent and they don't ask for help a lot. It's hard to remember, like, this person is living with a lot, and their life is kind of hard, and they may not tell you that all the time or let on, but it's hard. My mom's texting me. So yeah. But also, you know, be kind to yourself. It's also hard to like be the supporter of a person with chronic illness or pain. I know that, you know, my husband's very sweet and so kind, and he doesn't like make me feel bad about it, but I see sometimes like it's difficult for him to deal with like what are limitations for me sometimes. We used to go hiking and camping a lot, and I just can't do that in the same way right now because my body, like, that's too much for my body right now. And that doesn't mean that like forever I won't be able to do that, but like this thing that we both really love and enjoy doing together like cannot be a part of our lives right now, and that sucks. And I know that that's hard on him, and he can go by himself or go with other people, but you know, that was the thing that we liked to do together, and so that's, you know, we kind of lost this one thing. Excuse me. And I don't think that it will be forever, but you know, that's hard when you are constantly supporting someone like your mom or your partner or your sister or your brother, whatever. It's very taxing on you as well, and so I think let's all just be kind to ourselves and practice self-care, whether you're the person or you're the supporter. You cancel plans, Paige. Yeah, I do not, I don't have that many friends. I mean, I know a lot of people, I have a lot of acquaintances, and I consider a lot of people my friends, but when it comes to like really close friends, I don't have a lot of close friends because, honestly, like, because I, at this point in my life, do not have the spoons to like invest and like be the best friend that I could be. I do the best that I can, and I try really hard to be communicative and loving and supportive with the people that are close to me in my life, but I don't have the capacity to be that way with a lot of people. So I have a very small, like, close gathering of friends, and then I have a lot of other people that I know and talk to and who are, excuse me, my friends, but it's a little different. Hi, Tony. Oh, thanks. Do you like my ears? Yeah, I'm glad you're here. Jay, yeah, and it's harder because you deal with depression and social anxiety. It makes it so much more difficult when you both have stuff going on. When one person has stuff and needs to be supported and the other person is just kind of like awesome and like living their best life and like not having any problems, like it's so much easier because they have all the capacity. When you yourself have diminished capacity and you're trying to support someone else, like that's when it gets super rough. Yeah. I mean, don't feel guilty though. You have to take care of yourself. You're doing your best. yeah, caregivers really have to watch your spoons, even if you are like living 100. Like, you have to be careful. Like, there's a reason why caregivers and support workers, social workers, these kinds of people, like the turnover in their industries are so high because they burn out. Because you do so much, you give so much, and then you just forget. And you see this with like moms, you know? And I say moms, not that like dads or, you know, other partners can't be super hands-on with parenting and like run this homes ragged, but like, you know, with like the, especially like the stay-at-home mom, like they're doing it, they're in it all the time, like, and I don't know what that feels like because I've not lived that life, but they're gonna burn out, and you see it happen. So, but yeah, totally caregivers. Hi, Emily. Yay for live videos. Yeah, I like it. It's fun, huh? Okay, so the next thing on here. Oh, so I was talking about how does it show up in my life. So the biggest thing probably is like that other people see, and that affects my interactions with other people, is like the canceling of plans, or not being able to like make solid plans, and that sucks. I mean, that's not great. I remember when it wasn't like that, and I just like went places and did stuff, and I didn't think about, well, is there going to be a bathroom that I can use, and you know, how long am I going to be seated because I have this issue with my hip, and whatever, all these things. It's a lot easier when you don't have to think about all those things, you know. And if you're a person with chronic pain, like people with like fibromyalgia or other kinds of pain issues, think about how, I don't super know what this feels like, but sometimes I try to think about like trying to live your life, you know, like there's so many uncomfortable seating situations where you go, and like traveling must be so hard because, you know, transportation seating is not comfortable. It's small, it's not cushy, you can't stretch out, it's, you know, oh my gosh, yeah. And it's a lot of like go go go, and it's not a gentle experience. So yeah, that does not that does not sound good. And then yeah, so like symptoms and stuff. So I deal with IBS and PCOS and now rosacea, and two of those, the symptoms are fatigue, and that's really hard on me because I also live in a hot climate and the heat makes me tired. So I have three things contributing to feeling tired. And it's not just like feeling tired, it's like that in your bones feeling of fatigue. And on top of that, another set of symptoms is trouble sleeping. So I often don't sleep as much as I should, or don't get good quality sleep, and then am already going to be tired on top of that. So like if you see me yawning in live videos, it's because I'm fucking tired. I'm tired, you know, a lot of the time. And excuse me, oh my gosh, my cough is rearing because I'm talking a lot. And I am not looking for advice. Please don't comment with advice of what I need to do and to whatever. I welcome any other kind of comments except for those. But yeah, so those are, you know, the fatigue symptoms are pretty impactful in my life. It just means that I'm kind of tired a lot of the time. I don't have the energy for a lot of the stuff that I like to do, which is one of the reasons why hiking and camping and stuff is kind of off the table for me. It's one of the reasons right now, just because it's like so exhausting, even if you're like in a normal, you know, physical wellness state of being. I can't talk. So yeah, and then with my IBS, like I just have a lot of stuff with my stomach and like needing to go to the bathroom. So like I could tell you where all the bathrooms are at all of the places in Houston that I've ever been to because I've probably been in there. Sorry if that's gross to you, but like whatever. People are so funny because they're like, oh, I don't use the public bathrooms. I'm like, if I didn't use public bathrooms, I would never be able to leave my house because like I'm in there all the time. So yeah, let's see. And then with the rosacea, That's like a new thing, and it's really becoming problematic. I was talking about this in the community this morning. It's happening right now. I'm having a flare, and you can't see as much like how red this is, but it's so hot. Like my face is so hot right now. And I have like a window AC going right now. That's what that noise is. But like my face is really hot, and that makes my whole body really hot. And that's really hard when it's only May 29th and it's already in the 90s here in Houston. It makes it really difficult to spend time outside, which I love. I'm a very outside person, except I can't get overheated like that, because once I get overheated, I stay overheated for a long time. And part of that is because I think because I'm fat, because when I was smaller, I didn't have as much of a problem with like staying hot like that. And so I think as I've gained weight, like I just stay hotter longer. And so adding this to that is like not helping. So yeah, let's see. Oh, invisible illnesses. So we kind of talked about this a little bit, but there's a lot of invisible illness type stuff that people could be dealing with and you would never know. You can't see pain. So people deal with all kinds of chronic pain issues and you would never know unless they tell you, because you can't see it. You can't see that someone is hurting. You can't see that somebody is maybe inflamed or, you know, dealing with all kinds of different things. And that makes it really hard, because then people, and I see people post about this on the internet, like on Instagram, they'll talk about like, you know, oh, I have a, you know, like a placard to park in the handicap parking, and people like have yelled at me before because to them it looks like I don't need it, but like I really need it, or they use the scooters, or they're in a wheelchair like at the grocery store or something, and then they will stand up to reach something because it's like on a high shelf, and then people are like, why are you in the cart, blah blah blah, or you know, why are you on the scooter, why are you in a wheelchair if you can stand up and, you know, like walk or whatever. And people use wheelchairs all the time who can physically walk. Like, I don't know if people don't realize this, but like there's a lot of reasons why somebody might need to be in a wheelchair or on one of those scooters for a shopping trip, because it's a long time to stand up if you have issues with standing up for a long time, or if you have pain issues. And I'm not surprised that people say stuff like that, because I get comments at the grocery store all the time just because I'm fat. But like, people, mind your own business. Like, if you look at someone ever and you think, well, they don't need that, just leave it alone, because you don't know if they need it or not. If you're with somebody and they say something like that, please say something, because if they progress and like decide to say something to the person, oh my god. Oh, I just realized that there's like comments I didn't see. Tony, you found out you have fibromyalgia. Yeah, invisible. You don't look like you're in pain, but you're in pain. And it's so easy, or even if you're not like in pain in the second, it's easy to hurt you, like, because you're sensitive to pressure and to touch, is what I hear. I don't have fibro, but I know people that do, and they talk about just like, you know, this, if you just press too hard, could hurt. And people are like, don't be a baby, or, you know, whatever. But if somebody tells you, and this is like for everything, if somebody tells you, when you do that, it hurts me, whether emotionally or physically, believe them. It's like the thing with like, well, I'm not racist. Like, what I said is like, what I was like, if somebody tells you what you said offended me, like what you said is racist or what you said offended me, just believe them. It doesn't matter what your intention is. So if you look at somebody and you think that they don't have an illness, like, it doesn't matter if you're not trying to be a jerk about it, because all that person is going to hear if you say something to them is that like you're invalidating their existence and their feelings. And you're a nice person. You don't want to do that. Girl, yeah, so you know about the heat. Yeah, endometriosis. Nobody can see that you're in that pain. Nobody can see like growths inside of you. And the pain that that can cause. PCOS, when the cysts can rupture and it's super painful, People can't see that, and you could be like having to go to work and deal with things, and people can't see it. Yeah, Emily, so you're really dealing with a lot. Fatigue, changes in your body, depression. Yeah, and so sometimes the things that they give us to fix the problems also cause different side effects, right? So, you know, dealing with one thing that you're experiencing can bring on a whole new set of symptoms, probably also invisible, that you have to deal with. So the last thing I have as a talking point was just people's attitudes, and we've really talked about that already. Yeah, even just the cramps at PCOS, girl. Yep. Yeah, just mind your own business. So yeah, the last thing on my list was people's attitudes, and that really just comes down to like being compassionate and kind. And even if you have no idea what that feels like to have like a chronic illness or chronic pain, just try to put yourself in the position who deals with that. And I think spoon theory is such a good way to help people understand. So whether you or somebody that you know maybe doesn't get it, reading that I think can be really helpful, and thinking in those terms, because the biggest thing that I hear about from people when I talk about chronic illness and chronic pain is like the canceling plans, or like being flaky, or having like needing certain circumstances in order for an outing to work. And what I mean by certain circumstances, like, for example, say my extended family, they want to have like a big family picnic. That sounds really fun to me. However, I'm going to need to know that I have access to a bathroom, and I need there to be some kind of shade, and preferably not be like the hottest time of the day, because otherwise I can't come. Like I can't do it, because if I go somewhere and I'm stuck without access to a bathroom, and I'm not like in the woods where I can just like go and like poop in the woods or something, like that's gonna be problematic for me. I'm just gonna have to leave and like desperately race to some public place that's gonna have a bathroom. Like that's not fun. That doesn't feel safe for me to attend. And so some people would just be like, just hold it. Well, bitch, I can't hold it. Like, that's part of the problem. Like, when I gotta go, I gotta go. I need to know that there's a bathroom that I can use. And somebody who has, like, normal stomach, bowel functions is not gonna understand what that feels like. But that's my reality on, like, an everyday basis. And it doesn't matter, like, and so what I've gotten clapped back, like, well, you just need to figure out what your trigger foods are and like don't eat them. You know what? My trigger foods change. So what is a safe food for me today may not be a safe food for me tomorrow. And I won't know until I eat that food and find out that it is unsafe for me. So, not to be a dick, but like mind your own business. And if you know that there are people in your life that have issues, whether it's mental or physical, that they deal with on an ongoing basis, just try to accommodate them. And no, you cannot always accommodate people, and so there are going to be things that I can't go to, but I'm going to send you a nice gift or a card or whatever, or say that I wish I could have been there, and that's fine. Not everybody has to go to everything, but if you're going to do something and you want somebody to go, don't be mad at them if they can't go for whatever reason. And if you really want them to be there, figure out what you need to do to make it accessible for them. If they can't walk a super long time or stand, make sure that they can get in quickly and sit down. You know, and maybe as easy as making sure that, you know, the restaurant where you're having the party is going to have plenty of seating so that everyone's going to have a chair for their own, right? So they don't have to stand the whole time. Or that there's going to be valet parking, so they don't have to park super far and walk. They can just pull up and park. For me, I've already listed my stuff, but you know what I mean. If you want to be a good ally and supporter of people in your life, then it does take some forethought and some planning. But once you get used to it, then you know what you need to have at an event or like whatever, or how flexible you need to be when making plans, and it's not as hard. In the beginning, it's a little hard. But it's worth it because you ostensibly really care about this person and want them there. Um, yeah, Emily, it's really hard when people don't see the pain because they can't understand how hard it or how bad it is. I'm glad that he understands now. What, Melissa? You don't want to poop in the woods? Oh, Emily, that's hard. The eating. So yeah, that's all the stuff that I had kind of written down to talk about. For people who deal with this stuff, is there anything that you wish your friends and family knew, or you wish that they thought about, or you would want to say to them maybe, but you don't feel comfortable, or you have had to say to them? Oh my god, I'm coughing. My face is so hot! I'm also sitting in front of a very large window that is super old and it lets in a lot of heat, but still. Let's see. I don't know. I don't think I really have anything else. I mean, I could like bitch about stuff for a long time or talk about things, but I don't want to make this video crazy long. It's already almost 40 minutes. I can't believe that. That's why I'm coughing. If you watch this video later, please feel free to comment about what we're talking about. I'm going to put a link to the spoon theory in the description box. I just spit. Sorry. So you can take a look at that, reread it if you've already read it before, or if you want to read it for the first time, or if you want to like forward it to a friend, like, hey, read this, it might help you understand like what I'm going through. Oh, excuse me. I just think it's such a good tool. Like, thank God this lady made this theory up, because it's such a good way to talk about it in a way that is more accessible to understand such a, you know, a topic that is complex and emotionally fraught. And you know, like when I have talked to people in my life about this, like before I knew about spoons, I didn't know how to talk about it, and I would get really, I'm emotional anyway, and I would get emotional about it, and it's hard for someone to hear what you're trying to say through like crying and not articulating things well, which is generally how stuff goes with me. So yeah, I saw a comment. Your husband's mom was still trying to coax you into eating something off your plan. Ugh. Tell her to stop. I mean, it's real easy for me to say. I understand. It's hard to tell people. I don't know, like, how comfortable you feel with just like saying, like, you know, in the future I'd really appreciate it if you would not encourage me to eat anything, you know, certain foods, or here are things that I am not eating because they don't feel good in my body. Please don't ask me to eat them. But that's really easy for me to say and really hard to actually do. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Oh my God. Oh, here's one thing that I do want to say. And this is what I want my friends and family, my people in my life to know, is that and so this is just very personal and speaking for myself, and this may or may not resonate with you, but I sometimes share a lot about my health and well-being, and sometimes I don't share anything. And it just depends on how I'm feeling that day, how much energy I have. Because to me, and here's another thing, it's like you got to back it up. It's not just me saying, oh, I got diagnosed with PCOS. It's me thinking, well, if I say this and then they ask questions, so I have the energy to respond, and I'm still feeling a little raw emotionally, and I don't know, and I don't feel necessarily safe with them to like really get into it, so I'm just not going to say anything at all, right? And then people are like, oh, I can't believe you didn't tell me, blah, blah, blah. Well, just understand that if somebody chooses to share something with you or doesn't choose to share something with you, it's for a reason. And try not to take it personally, because it's not about you, it's about them. And if somebody does choose to share something with you, please try not to make your reaction about you. Oh, I'm so upset about this. What can I can't do anything, like, oh, da, da, you know, because it's not about you. And also, please try not to just ask like a shit ton of questions. Like, oh, well, what does that mean? And are you going to have surgery? And, is this going to impact this part of your life? Oh, does that, is that going to mean that you can't do this? Or, blah, blah, blah. Like, take all those questions and put them into Google and ask Google, blah, 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 blah. And, like, do some work yourself, and don't make the person who is already dealing with a bunch of stuff then have to do more work themselves, So, like, take it upon yourself, and as you're Googling, ask yourself, is this my business? Maybe it's not. That's me personally, only speaking for myself. You may have a very different opinion, and that's totally fine. Yeah, Melissa Spoons, I think, is a really good way to share this with people. You would love to tell her, it's just today you're burning off. Oh my god. Stop eating with this woman. Angela, when I try to use more spoons than I actually have, it makes me anxious about what comes next. How am I, even oh, I'm at the party, and I might even be having fun, but I'm really worried about how I'm gonna feel tomorrow. And maybe I'm already canceling plans for tomorrow because I know how I'm gonna feel. Stuff like that. So for me, overextending with the spoons gives me anxiety or makes it flare up because I'm worried about what comes after that. Yeah. Hi, Rosamond. Just ask Google. Emily, you like that? Okay. Is that it? Okay, that's all the comments. So we're past 40 minutes. Let's cut this off. It's getting pretty long. It's hard to sit through a 40-minute YouTube video if somebody were to watch this back. So yeah, if you have any more comments, put them down below, whether it's now live or whether it's later after the fact. And if you have things you wish people knew or other stuff, thank you. Oh god, distracted. I feel like that. Anxious and like you've lost control. Yeah. Yeah, and then I feel guilty also. I feel guilty for using the spoons that I don't really have. And then I get mad at myself for feeling guilty for using the spoons. Oh my god. Yes. Alright, cutting it off. Thank you so much, everybody who's been here. I'm so happy that y'all were here, that you could contribute. I hope that the spoon theory helps you. I don't know, have a great day. I hope that you are feeling heard and validated and loved and worthy and important, because you are all of those things. And yeah, I'll see y'all later. Bye.